People told me I couldn't do a lot of things.
I feel like I'm the chosen one.
Look at this. We created this. This didn't exist before we were here. All we are is proud and passionate. I love Toronto. I love this team. And we're going to the NBA Finals.
Nothing matters but winning.
You're going to the NBA Finals for the first time in your career.
Toronto Raptors are the 2019 NBA champions.
Welcome back to episode 18 of Rapzville Weekly. This is our third origin story episode. I'm your co-host, Gabriel Cellio, along with
Adam Casucci.
And today we're going to be talking about Terence Davis Jr., his origin story. We've done Matt Thomas, we've done Norman Powell, we're continuing on with the guards, and we're jumping to TD. So, Terence Davis Jr. was born on May 16th, 1997, in South Haven, Mississippi. Davis is the son of Trinita Smith and Terence Davis Sr. He began playing basketball at the age of 6 and attended South Haven High School. At South Haven, he became a star football player in the wide receiver position. Davis earned 20 scholarship offers from major universities for footballs because of this, but opted to pursue basketball in college instead. Davis went to Ole Miss and barely played, averaging 1.9 points and 6.9 minutes per game as a freshman. His coach, Andy Kennedy, gave him strong advice going into his sophomore year to become a ball getter, and this resulted in him improving drastically. He became one of the most improved players in all of college basketball and scored 30 points on 6 or 7 three-pointers in an NIT National Invitation Tournament win over Syracuse. Davis then averaged 14.9 points and 5.3 rebounds per game as a sophomore. In his junior season, Davis led the team in scoring with 13.8 points per game while contributing 6.2 rebounds and 2.1 assists per game. Ole Miss got a new coach the next season, and Davis proceeded to average 15.2 points, 5.8 rebounds, and 3.5 assists per game while shooting his best three-point percentage and free throw percentage of his career at 37.1% and 77.2% respectively. Davis also had the honor of being named the SEC Player of the Week after scoring 27 points and pulling down 12 rebounds in a win over Auburn University on January 9th, 2019. Davis was then named to the second team All-SEC.
TD was able to lead Ole Miss to their first NCAA tournament in his career. After the season, Davis participated in the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament and was named to the all-tournament team. After his sophomore season ended, he left school and continued his studies online because he knew he had a child on the way. This was back in March. He moved to Vegas to train at Impact, which has basketball training academies and programs highly regarded by scouts and teams all over the world. Davis wanted to work extremely hard to develop his game in order to make it into the league and provide for his child on the way, giving his son a better life than the other one he had. He felt like he was in a really tough position as it approached June, and he thought that, his back was against the wall. He would sadly be correct, as he did go undrafted that year, and things looked down for Davis. However, he used his newborn son as a support system to stay positive and not feel so depressed about being undrafted. Davis stated that his son's presence made the night a lot better, and he specifically remembers telling his son that everything was going to be all right. They were going to get through it, and he was going to have a much better life than Terence ever could have. During this time, all the uncertainty of raising a child and giving him a good future was causing Davis to stress out a lot, and he started to think of the worst-case scenarios. He did, however, keep his faith in God, and thanks him to this day for continuing to be blessed. He decided to join the Denver Nuggets for the 2019 NBA Summer League, pushing his basketball dream into reality. Then, on July 11, 2019, Davis signed a 2-year deal with the Raptors, with a full guarantee in year 1. Davis made his NBA debut on October 22nd, 2019, coming off the bench in a 130-122 overtime win over the New Orleans Pelicans, which was the first official game of the season. He had 5 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. One of his better performances came on November 20th, where Davis put up impressive numbers in a 113-97 win over the Orlando Magic, scoring 19 points and grabbing 8 rebounds. Then, on January 8th, Davis made his first career start, scoring 23 points to go along with 11 rebounds and 5 assists, leading the Raptors to a 112-110 overtime win against the Charlotte Hornets. I remember Terry Rozier from the Hornets was talking a bit of trash to Davis, and Davis responded late in the game, which helped us win. Finally, on February 2nd, 2020, Davis scored a career-high 31 points against the Chicago Bulls. This kid has real potential, and I like what we have seen from him so far in his first season with us. He is not afraid to shoot big shots, especially 3 balls. He is quick and athletic, can drive to the basket, and can play some tough defense. He is a 200-pound, 6'4" guard with tons of potential for sure. He definitely has one of the highlight dunks this season for the Raptors, in my opinion, against the Golden State Warriors. He blew by Marquise Chris and took off, soaring through the air and slamming it home on 2 defenders contesting him. So yeah, this season, I mean, in the scrimmage games, I felt Davis did play well. I mean, he was shooting the ball well, but I guess since the time off, the players had a lot of time off, so they weren't maybe practicing, and I felt that maybe got to him. But in the 2 games that the Raptors have played so far, Terence hasn't been getting a lot of play time, and I think it's because Nurse is trying to cut down the rotation, trying to get the starters more minutes, get back up to par. But we haven't seen too much of him. When he has come on, he has been turning it over a lot in the first 2 games. And I think that's another reason why he hasn't seen so much time.
Yeah, in the scrimmages so far, the first 2 games, Houston and Portland, he did play decent. He scored 13 points, I believe, one game. The other game it might have been like 14 or 12. So decent numbers for his role on the team. And he played his part, but that was about 19 minutes of play each game. And then against the Suns, he did not play nearly as well. He played 17 minutes, and I believe only had like 4 points. Or 6 points, something like that on the lower end. And definitely didn't do much, even on the Lakers. Less minutes for sure, but less performance out of him. This is being recorded as of August 3rd. We just watched the Miami Heat game. So 2 games we've played so far in the regular season, Terence Davis hasn't done too much. Like Adam said, a couple of turnovers. Not the best play from him, and obviously this is his first real season in the league, and it's definitely an interesting one to be thrown into, as the whole league has been forced to play in this new environment with no fans, like in this random bubble, and just focusing on the game. Definitely interesting, and for a rookie, it's definitely challenging to try going back to that regular season that they first adapted to at the beginning of the year. So I can give him a little bit of leeway here, because we know that he can't be fully adjusted yet, but we definitely want to see more out of him. Like Adam said, he's got tons of potential. I think that he is very fast and athletic, and he knows how to take some good drives to the basket. And as long as his IQ stays up, I think he can be a really good young player for this team moving forward.
He has to continue what he has done in the first 60 whatever games, because I feel like if he continues that, he can for sure be playing big minutes in the playoffs. I feel if Kyle or Fred are in high foul trouble or aren't playing well, or an injury occurs or something like that, he will have to step in and do his part. Gabe, I also wanted to ask you, what do you think of Nurse's kind of coaching style with Terence and Boucher? I've noticed, and more of the young guys like Matt Thomas, Chris Boucher, Terence Davis, O'Shea Brissett. When they come in and they have a bit of a rough start, do you think it is good to kind of not give them another chance, and kind of just not not give them
I know what you're saying. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Nurse is very, critical of earning your spot on the lineup. And if he gives, Terence Davis 4 minutes to play and it results in 2 turnovers, no points, and he doesn't feel like he's making an impact, he's quick to take him out and, didn't put him back in the rest of the game. So, it's definitely a harsh coaching style, but I guess it's one that he wants his players to really fight and want their spots back. It is good sometimes you have to be given more minutes, more of a chance to see, But at the same time, I think Nurse is requiring something special from this team. He wants to get back to the NBA Finals, and he knows that we've played good so far. Bet the Lakers, bet the Heat, 2 big matchups so far. If we keep up our play, you know, our goal is to make the finals once again and hopefully win another championship. So Nick Nurse has something, you know, in mind. He has a goal to reach, and he wants his players. He needs to draw the best out of his players to get there. So if it's saying, you know what, you only played 4 minutes and I didn't like what you played in those 4 minutes, you're going to have to sit and you better do good the next game or you're going to get another 4 minutes. Hopefully that sparks something in Terence Davis to, you know, work on his shot after the game, improve, and, you know, think about what he did wrong in order to better himself for the next game. So maybe that's going to help him moving forward. And I guess that's all we got to hope from him. And I wanted to say one more thing before was that's another reason I guess maybe Terence Davis didn't have too many minutes also was the past 2 games, first 2 regular season games. They've been a big, huge performances from one of our guards in each night. So Kyle Lowry in the first night, obviously Fred VanVleet this game against the Heat.
Yeah. So
obviously that could be a little bit of why there was lack of minutes for Davis, because there was a good night for the guards each game.
Yeah, for sure. Bringing it back to Nurse, I feel like with him, he'll play Fred and Kyle as long as he has to if they're playing well. And he's done it in the past, playing them both sometimes even 40 minutes a piece every night. So he's not he's very strict on the minutes, and that's the way I think just Nurse coaches in general. Another question with Terence Davis and his play style. What plays do you think Nurse will kind of cook up for him when he's on the floor, whether it be in a pick and roll or kind of an isolation play, or even just ball movement? Just a lot of ball movement with him on the floor. What do you see him putting Terence Davis in that role?
Yeah, Terence Davis is definitely, because he's a young guard. I think, especially with our team, that we want to contend and we have something, you know, a goal set in mind. We're not just a team that wants to just put our faith in young rookies. I know the Heat do that a little bit, but you know they're playing well. Tyler Hero has been playing amazing. Bam, they're good players and they're young. But I think where we're at right now, we have a lot of veterans, you know, leading the charge. We have Kyle Lowry, Serge Ibaka, Mark, some veterans, high IQ players that, you know, have an offense in mind that they want to do pick and rolls and screens. So because Davis is obviously a young player thrown into that offense, I think he has to play more of an off ball and kind of just be a part of the flow of the offense, whether that be some Lowry or VanVleet's kicking out to him to shoot a 3-ball or maybe a driving kick. And if you obviously he can call for screens and do a little bit of his own action, but I feel like with our team right now and the way we're set up and like what we want to achieve, I think we already have an offense, and he's a young player coming in. I think he just has to adapt to it and do what the team needs from him, whether that be an off-ball player. Obviously, I do like seeing him sometimes with the ball in his hands, creating plays, sometimes off screens and stuff. You could see that he's very quick and athletic, so he can get some blow-bys and some highlight plays. But I feel so far he's played more of an off-ball role for us, because we usually like the ball in Lowry or VanVleet's hands, because they do tend to create good offensive plays. So I feel like that's what we're going to see moving forward most likely. I'd like to see a little bit of, you know, what can TD do alone, ball in his hands? Can he create a play? Can he, you know, make a nice play or a highlight play? It depends. So it really depends on what the offense is going with at the time. But I feel like moving forward, we're just going to see more of a Lowry VanVleet offense, and he's going to be off ball.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if they would all be on at the same time, obviously, with the 3 guards.
Yeah, I'm saying, you know, Lowry, and then we could have Davis at the 2 guard, or VanVleet and Davis at the 2 guard, or it depends what we're running.
Yeah. No.
Or even Davis and Norm. But there's definitely more of a ball-dominant player when he's on, and it's not usually him. So he could be with Norm, who's more ball-dominant. And Norm usually likes to lead the bench with the ball in his hands, making ISO plays, and if he wants to, kickouts. And obviously VanVleet and Freddie, they also like the ball in their hands. So I think that whenever Davis is on, he tends to be with someone that's more ball dominant, and he plays that off ball role.
Yeah, and also with Davis, I mean, having his kid at such a obviously a young age.
Yeah.
He's also probably going through a lot in his personal life, taking care of obviously the kid now in the bubble. He kind of has some space there to himself with his family back home. But he's probably going through a lot, especially thinking that he wants to be with his son, right? As well as everyone, even Kyle, all the players on the team who have kids. But he's very young, and to have a kid at that age, it must be very difficult sometimes. But I think he's done a great job to, even as a father, just to manage that.
Yeah, I think having a child that young is always challenging, and I know in the open gym video that I've seen from him, he was talking about how when he go to the games and stuff, and he gets on the bench, sometimes he likes to look over the bench and see his I believe wife or the mother of his child. I'm not sure if it's his wife or not. And their kid, he likes to look back and just see them and smile and like just see what they're doing, and it just has a little bit of happiness to calm him down and get himself refocused and like wanting. It's like his motivation. I think his driving force is his new son, and I think that that's good for him. He has something to keep him balanced, keep him leveled, and keep him wanting to chase something. His goal is to chase a better life for his son, and he's going to do that by becoming a better basketball player and earning his spot on teams and getting the money he deserves to help his family financially. So I think that it's good that he has a driving force, but obviously having a kid this young is very, very hard. Obviously, I believe he had that child. He would have been 22 at the time, I think, or maybe the baby came after when he was 23, but still a very young age. So it's definitely was challenging for him. He had to leave school to focus on, becoming a basketball player and also having his son born. So definitely a unique origin story for this individual. And I think it, once again, just adds a little bit of character to our team. Everyone has something that drives them. We talked about Matt Thomas, his father being gone and him working towards having a good family life and learning from his decisions and learning from adversity. And then now we got TD here, who has a different perspective. His adversity was having a child very young and becoming a father and trying to balance a family life with starting a career, not even carrying a career, but starting a career and becoming a basketball player, making it to the league. So I think it's just another unique story for us.
Yeah, for sure. And moving forward with Terence Davis, I feel it's also difficult for him, not just only with the minute situation, but in the future, like if Kyle does retire in maybe even 3 or 4 years, let's just say, I'm assuming Fred's taking that role, and then Norm will be pushed up, and then Terence Davis will kind of move into Norm's role.
Possibly, yeah.
Do you see Terence making that big improvement to kind of pass Fred or Powell, or do you kind of see him just kind of easing his way into the league and not having that big spark one that like Fred had last season and Norm is having this season?
I can't say I see it yet. I do see sparks of excellence from this kid. He's got highlight plays. I think he has some good NBA basketball, NBA ready skills. Yeah. His speed, a little bit of his strength. I think his size is nice for a guard. I think he can do a little bit of everything. His shooting's good. His confidence is up there. I think he has all those stuff set up for him, but I don't know if I've seen enough consistency yet to prove that. Obviously, Norm has done a good job stepping up this year and improving his play. Obviously, OG as well. Lowry's obviously a proven player, and even Van Vliet last year basically did the proving enough for him. So I think, when Lowry's gone and we shift that lineup to maybe Fred and Norm, I think TD can be a great six-man. And as long as he continues his play, for all you know, if this kid was on another team, like let's say a young team, like like an Orlando Magic or something like that, or even a Sacramento, like obviously they have Fox and stuff, but I'm saying, if he was on a younger team like that where they emphasize their young players and letting them grow, you could probably see huge performances from this kid every once in a while, and I wouldn't be shocked. I think he has the skill set to do so. It's just whether or not he can be consistent enough to continuously improve his game. And I think that I'd like to see it from him. I think if we keep him long-term and he develops with our team and, we give him some more minutes as he improves his game, I think we can see a nice spark from this kid and he can be a nice six-man for this team.
Okay. Now the question here is obviously with TD. I'm thinking that when the Raptors, their upcoming games, versing, I guess not as heavy contenders for the title with versing the Lakers and the Heat in their first 2 games. Do you think
Orlando?
Do you think TD will get a bit more minutes? Because I know Nurse, when it's a tight game, he always wants to have his best lineup in there.
Yeah,
and makes the Raptors have the best chance of winning. So I don't know. Do you think Davis will have those extra minutes in the Orlando game, or?
Yeah, so this obviously will be coming out after this game is done, but this is our pre-prediction. Yeah. I'm obviously assuming yes, because Orlando is, lower placed team seeding wise. I think that it should be an easy closeout game for us. If we perform our best, we should have a decent win, if not a blowout win. So let's hope that the Raptors don't play up to par and get there. But if we do have that lead, we can obviously expect that at some point, 5 minutes left in the fourth, 6 minutes left in the fourth, TD would be closing out the game at the guard position. Okay. So I think that he will get a lot more minutes that game, obviously compared to only 4 minutes tonight because it was a close battle game. Nick Nurse might still be, if he's not playing good, he might not give him, all the time in the world. But I think obviously he's definitely going to get more than he did today. And I'm hoping he does perform in his time because Orlando Magic is not the best team. So I think that it's a time for TD to show that he's still up to par with everyone's play coming back to the season. And we want to see more from him, obviously. He could have minutes in the playoffs. And the past 2 games were obviously big teams. And Nick Nurse wants to start shaping the starters to playing a lot more minutes so that they're ready for the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But obviously we want to see, the younger players also develop and get some chance to play in the bubble and, develop their game.
Yeah, I want to see a bit more of also Chris Boucher in minutes. Obviously, he hasn't played tonight. And, and he played a little bit in the first game. But I want to see more of him. And speaking about the Orlando Magic, they're on a 5-game winning streak. And I think they're honestly playing the best basketball I've ever seen them play right now.
It's disappointing though that Jonathan Isaac tore his ACL. Yep. So that's a hit to them. But I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and as of right now, we're versing them again in the playoffs in the 7th seed. So I don't know.
As it sits,
it's a bit early to talk about it, but if we do end up facing them again, I think it will be a much, I think closer series, but obviously we have more experience, and I think we will pull through.
Yeah, I guess we can leave that up to when it happens. All right, so I think that pretty much wraps it up for Terence Davis. This was a little insight to his origin story. Obviously unique in its own way. Norm had a little bit more of a college career, and there's more on him as a player. He's been with us longer. Matt Thomas had his own story about his father and his past. And we got some of this info from Open Gym episodes, but Terence Davis, a little less info on him, but his unique thing is his being a father that early. So, everyone on our team has a little bit of a story, and we didn't mention it too much, but once again, an undrafted player on our team that we've seen some great play from, and hopefully one day he can prove to be as good as the other undrafted players on our team / players that got drafted in the second round. So that tends to be the story for our team, and hopefully he proves to be another one of those great pickups.
For sure. I truly believe in that. I hope Terence Davis has the best of his career obviously I hope with us, but even if he moves out, I feel like he's a great player, good attitude, a learning sponge, and I hope he has a great career.
Yep. Okay, so that's pretty much it. We hope you all enjoy. Please like and subscribe. We're available on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and obviously Instagram. We do post NBA content. We got box scores up. We have NBA news, all that stuff. And obviously Raptors, for the Raptors fans out there, we got some love. So yeah, thank you all for listening. And that's us signing out.
Peace.
Peace.